he has a good heart. And yeah.
They're in the entrance. You know where they are. Yes. Oh, your book. No, I can see you moved.
Problem is, Norma, she's too religious for him.
Never mind, I'll.
Oh.
He won't sit with men.
In the morning.
We are dividing the community. Separating.
What are you doing here? Oh, no. Why don't you just leave it on this view and you can go home if you want? What?
He speaks Spanish?
Do you speak Spanish?
Yeah.
We found it at the free library on the way.
Forget to put the books on the.
Yeah.
La 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav Vitzivanu lehadlik ner Vitzivanu lehadlik ner Vitzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat La 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 la
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom, Rabbi.
Welcome to Temple Har Zion. So this is a special Shabbat this weekend. This is called Shabbat Chazon, the Shabbat, literally a vision. The Shabbat that always precedes Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av is the saddest day of the Jewish calendar, a day of Jewish calamities. And the Shabbat before is a Shabbat where we have a clear vision of our world, of all the brokenness in our world, but it also is a Shabbat where we start to find the hope and the faith that each one of us can be agents to make it a better place. We will be singing Lecha Dodi to the melody of Eli Tzion, the Tisha B'Av melody later in commemoration, as is customary, of Tisha B'Av. And let us begin our Kabbalat Shabbat service created by the Kabbalists of Tzfat, who used to go out their hearts full of devotion to greet the bride Shabbat. We're on page 11. Page 5. We begin with the hymn welcoming the angels of Shabbat. They need to come this Shabbat too. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Hoachem shalom, malachei shalom, malachei elyon, mi melech, malachei hamelachim, kadosh baruch. Baruchuni Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Yon, Mi Melech Malchi Amalachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedechem l'shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Yon, Mi Melech Malachi Hamalachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. We turn to page 11. We begin our psalm, Psalm 95. Lechu neranena l'Adonai, naria litzur yishenu, mikadmavanav, bitoda, bizmirod naria lo. Kiel gadol Shalom. Asher nisu. Arbaim shana kod bedor, va'omaram to'el levavem, ve'im lo yadu derachai, asher nishbati v'yapi. Im yvon el menuchato. La 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 la. Page 13. La shiru ladonai shir chadash, shiru ladonai kol haaretz, shiru ladonai baruch shemo, basru miyom liyom yeshuato, sapru v'goyim kivodo, v'chol ha'amim nivleotav. Ki gadol Adonai, umehulal meod, norahu, al kol Elohim, ki kol Elohi hamimelim, va'adonai shamayim asa. Od viadar lifanav, oz v'tiferet b'mikdasho, havu l'Adonai mishpechot amim, havu l'Adonai kavod va'oz, havu l'Adonai kevod shemo, se'u mincha, uvo lechatzerot. Tav. Hay lay 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 lay. Alay la la la, alay la 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 la. Lifnei Adonai, kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek, v'yamim b'emunato. Page 15. Adonai malach hagel haaretz, yismechu im rabim.
We turn to the English on the left-hand side, responsively of page 15. Adonai reigns, let the earth be glad, the many distant lands rejoice.
Clouds and thick darkness surround the divine. Righteousness and justice secure God's throne. Fire goes before God, consuming besiegers round about.
Flashes of lightning illumine the land. The earth watches and trembles. Mountains melt like wax at the approach of Adonai, at the approach of the Master of all the earth.
Yevoshu. Yes. Light is sown for the righteous and joy for the upright. Or zaru ala tzadik ul'ishrei lev simcha. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai. V'yodu lezecher kodesh mizmor. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. כי נפלאות עשה, הושיע לו ימינו וזרוע קודשו אדוני ישועתו לעיני הגויים גילה צדקתו זכר חסדו ואמונתו לבית ישראל ראו כל ארצי הארץ את ישועת אלוהינו הריעו לאדוני כל הארץ פצחו ורננו וזמרו זמרו לאדוני בכינור וכל זמרת בחצוצרות וכל שופר הריעו לבני המלך אדוני ירם הים ומלואו תבל ויושבה נרות ימחאו כף יחד הרים ירננו לפני אדוני קיבה לשפוט הארץ ישפוט תבל בצדק ועמים במישרים לי די 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 לי די 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 היי די 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 Lai, 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 lai. Page 19. Adonai malach yergezu amim yoshev kerovim tanu taretz. Moshe ואהרון ואחיו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו.
Please rise, you turn to page 21, Mizmor LeDavid. In this psalm, the word call, the voice, appears 7 times. We believe that God's voice, so to speak, created the world, and God's voice is still shaking the world, bringing in blessing and presence and peace.
מזמור לדוד, הבו לאדוני בנעלים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, השתחוו לאדוני ביד הקודש, כל אדוני על המים השמיים, את הכבוד הרים. אדוני על מים, מים רבים, כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בידר, כל אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון, וירכידם כמו עגל לבנון, וסיריון כמו בן רמי. כל אדוני חוצב להבות אש, כל אדוני יכיל מדבר, יכיל אדוני מדבר קדש, כל אדוני יכול חיילות, ויחשוף יערות, ובחלו כולו מרכבות. אדוני למה בור ישב וישב, אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך רמו ושלום. אלי 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 אלי
Please be seated. We turn to Lecha Dodi, page 23, the moment the peace of Shabbat descends upon us.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, ישמענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קומי צאי מתוך הפכה. רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Let's go directly to the last stanza. Bottom of page 25, we rise, we greet the bride Shabbat. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני Shabbat Kabbalat.
Please remain standing. We turn to the Baruch Hu, page 39a.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMivorach. Baruch Adonai HaMivorach Leolam Va'ed.
Please be seated, and we turn to the responsive reading on the left-hand side. Beloved are you, eternal God, by whose design the evening falls, by whose command dimensions open up and eons pass away, and stars spin in their orbits.
You set the rhythms of day and night, the alteration of light and darkness sings your creating word.
In rising sun and in spreading dusk, creator of all, you are made manifest.
Eternal, everlasting God, may we always be aware of your dominion.
Beloved are you, Adonai, for this hour of nightfall.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב הרבים. אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו. בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ומצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו, באורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך. וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. והיה עם שמו. Impress these words of mine upon your heart and upon your soul. Bind them as a sign upon your hand and as a symbol above your eyes. Teach them to your children by speaking of them when you sit in your home, when you walk on your way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your home and on your gates. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor tzitzit. ולא תטורו אחרי דבר, למען תזכרו אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Turn to a responsive reading, page 43b. You proclaimed the covenant on the seventh day, declared it and decreed it. We listened and heard it. You loved this day. We inherited, delighting in its remembrance, and began its command with the word, remember, Zachor. From the time you bestowed it, joy filled the hearts of Yeshurun, the people you redeemed, securing the cause of righteousness. You exalted Shabbat as a sign between us forever. In 6 days your world was formed. On the seventh day you rested. And on this day, Israel, your people, rest. To honor your name, they sing songs of praise to the one deserving of praise.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע ים לפני משה, זה ליאנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר כפדם, אדוני את יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גל Yisrael. Let's speak Hashkivenu together. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'yamidenu malkeinu l'chaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, v'taknenu be'etza tova milfanecha, v'hoshienu leman shemecha, v'yagen v'yadenu, uvtzel kinafecha tastirenu, ki el shomrenu umatzilenu ata, ki el melech hanun v'rachum ata, ushmor tzeitenu uvoenu, l'chaim u'l'shalom me'ata v'yad olam, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, baruch ata Adonai, hapore sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. We rise. Vishamru evnei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Beini uven bnei Yisrael, oti leolam, Vishamru bnei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דברה קירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן ישמע רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא יאמרו Amen.
Please rise for our Amidah for Friday nights. We begin silently on page 47 and we continue through to page 52.
La 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 la. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen.
Please rise for Kiddush, page 55.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'yava uv'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Please be seated. Shabbat Shalom. I was once in a different synagogue, and in the synagogue there were two members who'd been there for many years who did not like each other very much. Happens every now and then. But they were both very popular in their own right and had groups of friends. They had opposing political views. And over the many years of being in the community, they had different feuds and little disagreements about shul matters. But for whatever reason, it came to a point where one of them decided that the other one was beyond the pale and was going to make them feel unwelcome. And the other one did not know why, but reciprocated. And suddenly, all those not so nice thoughts that had been in the background started to surface and started to talk about each other and their spouses and even their children. And it got bad very quickly, and the worst came out. This kind of a situation is really part of what Tisha B'Av is about, right? Tisha B'Av is about, in this Shabbat, Shabbat Chazon, it's about when the worst of human behavior starts to come out. And what all the prophets talk about when we read in these last 3 weeks, but also many other times a year, what are their prophecies and sad lamentations about and beautiful poetry as we know they have? It's all about when humans let their negative side come out. And suddenly people who are good people lose their self-control. And not the highest comes out, not their best moral. And they think they're defending themselves, but they're who's attacking, who started, who knows where it begins. And so the lamentation is about the heartbreak of witnessing these situations happening and how they open the doors to people's lives to, God forbid, be destroyed, and communities and even nations. And that's how you lose God's dwelling place among you, because the prophets are saying, God says, how can I dwell among you when you're acting senselessly, when you're not thinking, when you're losing it? How can I dwell among you? And that's what the prophets say again and again and again. And for the rabbis, it was even more an important question. We have it in this story in the Talmud that we will be talking about next Wednesday night for Tisha B'Av, of Kamsa and Bar Kamsa. In the story of these two people, one of them was invited to the party by mistake. It was really the other one, Bar Kamsa, who should have been at the party. But Kamsa turns out, and the host is actually an enemy of his. When the host realizes he's invited the wrong person, he starts to tell him, you have to leave the party. And he says, no, you're going to be shaming me in front of all these people. But he doesn't listen, and he throws him out of the party, and he's publicly shamed. And the man feels so bad that it happened in front of all of the who and who's of Jerusalem that he goes to the Roman authorities and starts to give up his fellows and tell the Romans about the plans of what's about to happen. And so it's about our propensity as human beings, when we feel wronged or hurt, or we think our loved ones have been wronged and hurt, to stop seeing the other as human, and then we do things we later regret. And all the negativity that all of us have is suddenly out in the open, and the words and actions spiral out of control, recourse. We've all seen it happen. And so maybe part of the message of Tisha B'Av is we can't always stop the Romans from being the Romans. And we can't always stop the Babylonians from being the Babylonians. And unfortunately, we often can't stop the Spanish Inquisitions when they happen. But what we can do is try not to let that same kind of behavior and evil, that lesser side of humanity, come up within each one of us. Sometimes it's just an everyday interaction, and sometimes it's in much greater activities of mankind, the epic battles. And no, the other side is we have to strive to love our fellow, despite all those differences. And we can't let all those hurts that we each have turn us into an even greater violence. Sometimes you just have to take a deep breath and let it see it and understand this is just part of the brokenness of the world and the brokenness that we each carry within us. And for at least a few weeks a year to look at humanity and acknowledge this side of all of us, is the vision of this Shabbat of vision, and not the rose-colored glasses that we sometimes bring. But then from this place of seeing the human condition, we also start to see the unbelievable power and beauty of small human acts to make it better and to heal. So in the situation I mentioned of the two people, in the end, even though that there were two circles of friends, there was many overlap, and somehow it was organized to have them become friendly. In the end, they were able to bridge the distance, and they were able to come to an understanding and to find mutual respect again. And it's so easy to lose control. But part of the message is that every time, even once, we stop that spiral, even within our own being, then that deed is a deed that heals the world and fills the human beings around us with wisdom, with hope, and with the immeasurable, incredible, infinite power of love. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. We turn to Aleinu, please rise, page 56.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל עמונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לבני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים הוא אלוהינו Einod, 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 Einod. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד ושמו
Turn to our Mourner's Kaddish on page 58. This week we are observing the following yard sites: David Barron, Bess Berry, Leo Brenner, Benjamin Brodsky, Rose M. Kaysen, Andrew Ellenbogen, Abraham Goldman, Max Goldstein, Arthur Grobe, David Holden, Sadie Joss, Franklin Kotlicki, Janet S. Lewis, Sam Lieberman, Mayor Libman, Esther Lucas, Isidore Poncher, Rose Riebman, Jetta Roth, Aylin Schlussel, Ilse Schmidt, Harry Siegel, Alter Sheft, Gussie Stopek, Samuel Tannenbaum, Kim Tesloff, Riva Wagner, Anna Warshawski, Morris Warshawski, Anna Wanger, Thea Solomon, Winjausen, Sarah Wolke. If you are observing a yard site or in mourning, please rise and join me in the words of the Kaddish. Yitkada v'yitkada shemei Rabba. Be'alma divra kirute v'yamlich machute. B'chaye yechon v'yomechon v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Bagala v'zman kari v'imu amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam olmei almaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. Vitadar, vitale, vitalal, shmei de kudesha, brichu, ne'ila, mikol bechata, v'shirata, tush bechata, v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, v'imu, amen. Yehi shlam rabba min shemaya, b'chaim aleinu, v'akol Yisrael, v'imu, amen. Ose shalom v'imomav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu, v'akol Yisrael, v'imeru, amen. Announcements from Jerry Bloom.
Here are the announcements for this July 21st. Thank you to Sarah Stern for ushering. Join us tomorrow for a sponsored Kiddush celebrating Mike Bass and Rose Lubarsky's 75th birthdays. Upcoming, we are initiating an exciting new program called Shul Babies and Bubbies and Zaydis to pair different families and to foster relationships between younger and older members of the Har Zion community. Designed to address the needs of families whose relatives don't live in the area while building engagement, call the office or Bar Biong for more information. This Sunday, July 23rd at 10:30 a.m., Stuart Rosenberg returns to speak about Jews in folk music. Always an interesting speaker. Join us in person or on Zoom. This Wednesday, July 26th, please come for Tisha B'Av. The Ma'ariv service begins at 8:30 p.m. with a soulful reading of Eicha, the Book of Lamentations, and goes to a discussion of baseless hatred and an exploration of Ahavat Chinam, baseless love. The morning Tisha B'Av service will be incorporated within Thursday's morning menu. Next Sunday, July 30th at 4, our Israeli Summer Movie Festival continues with a showing of the spectacular film, The Band's Visit. Our annual golf outing is returning on Sunday, August 13th at Meadowlark Golf Course in Hinsdale. Reserve for tea times beginning at 1 p.m. and follow with a Giordano's Pizza dinner. If you don't golf but do socialize, reserve a spot to eat pizza with us. The high holidays are approaching, and again, this year, we are raising money for ORT and Housing Forward by selling jars of kosher honey in a personalized package with a gift card and blessings, sent to arrive in time for Rosh Hashanah. Send honey to family, friends, and colleagues. The deadline to avoid the high shipping costs is a week away, August 1st. Elizabeth Berman is heading a food and supplies drive for the Ark this summer. The drive has been expanded to include school supplies through August 3rd. We are collecting food, household items, and personal supplies throughout the end of August. And finally, Vladimir, please leave your prayer books with the binding facing upwards so that the Sidurim last longer. We are able to compost again, so please be aware of the proper bins for your waste, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Please turn to page 211. We'll conclude our service singing Adon Olam in the same melody that we sang Lecha Dodi tonight with the upcoming Tisha B'Av. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא ליד נשא וחצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא אחד ואין שני להמשיל לו להגבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמשרה והוא אלי וחי גואלי וצור חבלי בעת צרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא בידו אב כדרוכי ועת ישן ויעירה ואמרוכי גביעתי אדוני לי ולא יירא.
Please rise for a concluding bracha. Kadosh Baruch Hu, Holy One, blessed be He. Help us find the chazon, the vision of this Shabbat, to see with clarity the world as it is, but to build with love, to build with peace, to build with goodwill. And let us say, Amen.
יברכך אדוני וישמרך.
May Adonai protect us and bless us.
יאיר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך.
May Adonai's countenance shine upon you, and may Adonai bestow kindness upon you.
יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום.
Adonai's countenance be lifted towards you. May Adonai grant you peace. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
You talking about me?